Thank you and good afternoon. After yesterday announcing that the Patriots are parting ways with their head coach dash GM, Patriots will have to hire a new GM. But it seems like they're going to hire a coach before the GM so he can get his guy in, and the coach will be the head speaker. Much like it is in Kansas City. Andy Reid gets first say. For the GM, one of my candidates that will probably not come on the list would be Mark Donovan, Chiefs president, who has done a great job for the Chiefs, but he may not leave the Chiefs, or he may not be qualified to be a GM. It was just a name I thought of. John Robinson, former Titan and GM, it eventually did not work out for the Titans, but he did go to the AFC Championship. Also may not have worked out because of the owner for the Titans, and similar to the reason of maybe why it didn't work out for Mike Vrabel. He didn't do so well for the Raiders. My vote is no, but that could just do with me not liking the Raiders. Elliot Wolf is a guy outside the box, but has been a general manager and assistant football consultant, and now has been the scouting department. Trey Brown spent his first days at Paul Brown Stadium in a desk. The Bengals went to 2 AFC championships with him, and now he has left with him. He's gone to 2 AFC championships. That would be a guy that would be a winner for the Pats, and get a GM who had already been successful. That wouldn't put anything past him to leave for a team or whatever. They have won 7 Super Bowls, so the most successful franchise since 2001, the Patriots. Louis Riddick would be a guy that you could hire. Washington football team 2001 to 2004 scout. Washington 2005 to 2007 director of personnel. Philadelphia Eagles pro scout under Andy Reid 2008. Philadelphia Eagles 2009 assistant director. Philadelphia Eagles director of operations 2010 to 2013 before he joined ESPN. The hard thing to think of having a coach. Gerard Mayo would be the first guy that I would hire. I would think he is a leading candidate, but there's also many more that are qualified. The Chiefs and Dolphins will get underway tomorrow. Now we move on to the David Bronson is a guy that the Chiefs brought into their guys. He was hired by Scott Pioli and has been successful under Andy Reid. I have my own opinions about Scott Pioli that cannot be viewed on the show. If you want to ask me about him, ask me off the show. The Chiefs will play the Miami Dolphins. They will get underway tomorrow. Some of the players to watch out for: Tyreek Hill, who will be hobbled, and the second best receiver on the second depth chart. So first would be Tyreek Hill. Second would be Miami Dolphins. He is probably the best second receiver on the depth chart. That, of course, he plays on the field with 2 wide receivers, sometimes 3 wide receivers you play with. It will look like L'Jarius Sneed will follow a former Chief, Tyreek Hill. Jason Waddle is questionable. Dolphins are missing many players. 2 quarterbacks will match up: Tua Tagovailoa and Patrick Mahomes. You'll get my prediction tomorrow. Kick is at 8:20 and 7:20 Central. We'll go over more on that. The Browns and Texans will play the earlier game. C.J. Stroud will be matched up against that could have been a former Texan matchup, Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson, after he got hurt, Joe Flacco has been successful. And to start his season, he has been very good. Has won the most road playoff games also, right next to Tom Brady, right there with Tom Brady. Players to watch out for: defense, Jalen Petery for the Texans, and Jonathan Greenwood, who has 12.5 sacks. Also Will Anderson, who has 7 sacks. Jalen Peter is at the cornerback position. Rookie Myles Garrett, he is the rookie. Will Anderson. Myles Garrett has 14 sacks on the season. That's the most between the 4 players I just named, the top stories, one of them will be who can get the sacks on the quarterback or who can force the pressure. Game time is at 4:20 and 3:25.
That the New England Patriots are hiring Gerard Mayo as the successor to Bill Belichick per Adam Schefter. Go.
It's really interesting because they had a succession plan in his contract that told him he'd be the successor, and that was on file with the league office, which means they don't have to do other interviews. You saw it, I think, in Baltimore when they moved on from Ozzie Newsome to Eric DeCosta as GM. So it seemed like it was pointing this way yesterday. It seems like in the building it felt like it was pointing this way all year whenever Belichick stepped away. But Gerard Mayo, who's been on that defensive coaching staff for years, has been perceived as a successor, and it turns out that was the case.
At 37 years old, Mayo now will become the NFL's youngest head coach, taking over a title that Sean McVay had held since being named the Rams coach in 2017. Mayo is a month younger than McVay.
Yeah, similar to what Graz said, Green, this was something that he has told people over the years that he was going to be the heir apparent. He was talking to people about putting his staff together. He has incredible leadership. He's a former linebacker, knows this program really well. So a lot of people thought it was not if, but when, and obviously they're not going to go through the search, which you're allowed to do if there's a contract in place. And, this is New England's plan. You got to give them credit for continuity. And now it's all going to be what kind of staff he could put together around him.
So, there'll need to be an offensive coordinator to manage whatever the quarterback situation turns out to be. And then the question will be about, personnel. They bring in somebody to be a GM because Belichick served that role as well. And, Gerard Mayo doesn't have the level of experience Bill had when he took the Patriots job. So I assume they're not going to give him both roles. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring in for that.
I think the smooth piece about this, and the thing I actually like about it, is Gerard Mayo got to see Bill Belichick when he wasn't the most successful coach in the entire NFL. When you think about the Matt Patricias, when you think about the Josh McDaniels, the Brian Flores, some of these guys, they only got to see Bill at his highest. Maybe he's had an opportunity to be in that building and start to figure out what are some of the things that went wrong, because obviously it wasn't the X's and O's. It wasn't defensive schematics, right? It wasn't getting your team to give effort and play. So what were those things other than picking the players that made the New England Patriots fall off during the end of Bill Belichick's tenure? And I think having been identified as the next head coach, you start making those check marks. On a week that it doesn't go well, you write down, okay, it'd be a good thing. You've been recognized for this position. You've been preparing for this position in this very building.
Let me give you just for those who don't know a lot about Gerard Mayo, he obviously was a terrific player. He was drafted 10th overall out of the University of Tennessee by the Patriots in the 2008 draft. He was the defensive rookie of the year. He was a captain on the Patriots for many years, retired after the 2015 season, rejoined them as a coach in 2019, has been on the staff since then, as you say, not for many of the glory years, more for these more recent struggling years, and now he is the coach, the successor to Bill Belichick. And there is that old expression, you don't necessarily want to be the guy who replaces the guy. These are very big shoes to fill.
They are very big shoes to fill, and I would say this, like if I'm giving advice to Gerard Mayo, be your own man. Yeah. So many guys that come out of that Bill Belichick tree, I think they try to emulate him to a fault, where they're not their authentic selves in their respective jobs. And that's where they ultimately come up short. And I think in this situation, I think he will. I think Gerard Mayo will, be his authentic self, because I think you do that. Obviously, as you know, players, we see through it all. And when you're not authentic, then the players don't buy in.
Yeah, like the chair can't change him. Right. Like the player.
Go in a new direction. No more Bill, no more trying to do this. Then now they go with a new coach, and they have the 3rd pick in the draft. In a draft that has one quarterback who I think is projected by everyone to be a star in Caleb Williams, and then 2 others that a lot of the mock drafts I'm seeing have going 2nd and 3rd, which are Drake May, the quarterback from North Carolina, and Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, who won the Heisman. Do you expect they will draft a quarterback at number 3 and start all over again with a rookie?
100%, and it'll either be the Drake May or Jaden Daniels loser of the 2nd pick. And then
do you try and trade up and get that? That was why I thought they might try and trade Belichick to get a little more draft capital to try and move up. Now you are just taking. If you like all 3 of them, that's one thing. But now you're just taking the one that falls to you.
If I'm Washington, one of the things I'm selling in my opportunity is you're going to pick the quarterback not named Caleb Williams. So I'm not moving out of that spot. I'm using the 2nd pick to entice the best coaching candidate.